Hi, my name is Kyle Hubbard. I teach in the philosophy department and I also teach a Conversatio seminar. Today, as you can see by the title, I will be giving you a short micro lecture on Augustine on faith, reason, and the good human life. You will be reading Augustine's On Free Choice of the Will. Maybe you've started it already. This lecture does not serve as an introduction to that text. I already have a handout that you received with the reading that introduces the text. But this micro lecture is designed to tie Augustine into some of the central questions that we're asking in Conversatio, namely, what is happiness and what is the good human life? What role does faith and reason play in the good human life? So let me begin. What is the good human life is a central question of Conversatio because it is a basic human question. Modern as well as ancient people sought an answer to this question, and maybe no one more so than the 4th and 5th century Christian bishop, philosopher, and theologian St. Augustine. Augustine was born in 354 in the North African town of Thagaste, in what is now Algeria, about in the middle of the north part of Roman Africa that you see on the map. He was raised as a Christian by his mother Monica, although by the age of 18 he had left the faith and embraced Manichaeism, a Gnostic religion that believed the world was composed of two opposed and warring elements, good and evil, light and dark. The religion promised its followers peace and contentment as long as they understood the nature of good and evil and helped free the elements of goodness and light trapped in evil and dark matter. As you can see, it was popular in the Roman Empire and then spread east through the centuries. Eventually, Augustine found Manichaeism did not satisfy him intellectually, nor did it provide a good answer to the question he yearned to answer. What is the good human life? As he left the Manichaees, Augustine searched for a sufficient answer to that question, and he eventually found it in the Catholic Christianity of his youth, converting after hearing the voice of a child in a garden chanting, "Pick up and read, pick up and read." As soon as he heard the child chant, he reached for his copy of St. Paul's Epistle to the Romans and read the following verse: "Not in riots and drunken parties, not in eroticism and indecencies, not in strife and rivalry, but put on the Lord Jesus Christ, and make no provision for the flesh in its lusts." In his Confessions, he then reports that I neither wished nor needed to read further. At once, with the last words of this sentence, it was as if a light of relief from all anxiety flooded into my heart. Augustine believed he finally found the best answer to the questions about the good human life that consumed him. He had found the ultimate source of human happiness. It wasn't in the pleasures of the body, especially sex, but in God. As he puts it On Free Choice of the Will, happiness is found in eternal goods and not temporal ones. But why does Augustine believe Christianity best answers the question, what is the ultimate source of human happiness? Well, to begin with, Augustine believes that all humans desire happiness. One of the requirements of true happiness is that it be permanent, because a good that we can lose against our will cannot provide true happiness. We will constantly worry about losing it, so we can't be at rest and happy while possessing a temporal good. So Augustine believes that only eternal goods can satisfy us. The eternal goods are either God himself, the eternal good, or they are gifts from God, such as our own goodwill that he talks about in On Free Choice of the Will. Augustine provides a uniquely Christian answer to the question, what is the good human life? Ancient philosophers like Plato and Aristotle and many others were consumed by the question. They believed a happy life is a life where one lives well, a life that pursues the good. Augustine agrees with Plato and Aristotle that we must be good to be happy. But for Augustine, this raises an essential problem. Augustine believes we are not capable of being good and thus uniting with God, our highest good, on our own. Because of the great distance between humans and God, and because of human sinfulness, Augustine thinks we are incapable of being good on our own. So how can we become good and thus capable of eternal happiness? The short answer for Augustine is that we must embrace the help of the Son of God, the God-man Jesus Christ. Only through God's help can we find peace and contentment. We must look outside of ourselves for the ultimate source of happiness. As Augustine famously says at the beginning of his Confessions, you, that is God, have made us for yourself, and our heart is restless until it rests in you. Augustine believes it is only through the God-man Jesus Christ that we can find true happiness and contentment, because it is only Jesus Christ that reconciles us to God and allows us to participate in true ultimate goodness. Human reason, embodied in the ancient philosophical question, what is the good human life, asks the right question, but it is only Christian faith that sufficiently answers that question. As Augustine puts it, the ancient philosophers understand many things about happiness and God, but they do not know the way to get there, which is through Jesus Christ. They can see the kingdom of peace and happiness, but they did not know the way to it. However, despite Augustine's insistence that we cannot find happiness on our own, he does not oppose faith and reason, as we might expect. Embracing the Christian answer to the question of happiness does not mean that faith answers all questions and now we can leave reason behind. Augustine consistently believes that faith and reason work together to help us grow in our understanding and love of others and of God. So, in On Free Choice of the Will, Augustine espouses the idea that now we must believe in order to understand. In other words, while there are some things vital for a happy life that we must accept by faith, such as the Christian claim that Jesus of Nazareth was the incarnate Son of God, we can then use reason to understand the meaning of these claims that we accept by faith. In On Free Choice of the Will, he starts from the belief that God is the ultimately good creator of all things, and so cannot be the cause of evil. Yet we can see all around us that people do evil things. He uses reason to attempt to understand how it is true that God is the ultimate good creator of all, and that people do evil things. Thus, Augustine sets a pattern of faith-seeking understanding that much of the Christian tradition follows, including St. Anselm. For the Christian tradition of Augustine and Anselm, faith and reason are not in competition, but are both necessary to grow in the knowledge and love of God, which is for them the ultimate answer to the question, what is the good human life? Thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck as you read Augustine's On Free Choice of the Will.